You want to save money fast? Here are 7 simple, easy, frugal habits that will help you keep more cash in your pocket starting today.
If you don't know us, I'm Larry.
I'm Hope.
And we're from Under the Median, where practical frugality meets real life.
All right, let's get right into these strategies. By the way, all 7 of these strategies we personally use. As we go through them, we'll give you examples and we'll tell you on average how much you could save by using each of these strategies.
Strategy number 1 is to menu plan based on weekly sales.
This is probably one of the most underappreciated frugal tips that I can give you. There's lots of ways to save on groceries, but this is indeed one of the main ways that we have dropped our grocery budget unusually low. We don't buy anything from the grocery store in general unless it's already on sale. Here are 3 steps you can follow. You're going to look at that sales flyer and you're going to look for loss leaders. Those are the items that are generally on the front page of the sales flyers, and they are unusually low prices. Theoretically, because the vendor is taking a loss on those items, thus they are called loss leaders. But here's the key with loss leaders. Sometimes there's a limit on them. If you can buy up to 5 at that price point, buy 5. But what you're going to do is pick 2 or 3 of those loss leaders every week. You're going to plan your weekly menu specifically around those items that are already on sale. And by the way, it also helps when you're doing this menu planning to know what you already have on hand in your pantry and in your freezer.
Tip number 2 is to create multiple meals around sale-priced items.
All right, we told you exactly where to find those sale-priced items in the sales flyer, but now we're going to tell you exactly what to do with them, because this is like a combo tip with tip number 1, and we'll tell you what you'll save using tip number 1 combined with tip number 2. Here's how we do it. Let's just say you find broccoli on sale, 99 cents a pound. You're not going to buy a pound or 2 of broccoli. You're going to buy 5 pounds of broccoli. Then you're going to take that broccoli and immediately you, in your mind and on paper, you're going to divide up that broccoli between 4 different recipes throughout the week. You're going to make sure that you're not serving that broccoli pretty much in the same form for 4 different evening meals. What you're going to do is serve it in distinctly different ways. Let me give you some ideas. You're going to take that broccoli, you're going to make creamy broccoli potato soup. That's recipe number 1. Recipe number 2, you're going to make a broccoli stir fry and put it over rice. Recipe idea number 3, buffalo broccoli wings. My kids loved it when I did this. I would make a bunch of broccoli or cauliflower wings, and then I would also take some those little mini carrots, and I would coat them in a batter, and I would make them into like mini corn dogs. They were on little toothpicks. And so you had your different dipping sauces and you got to dip everything in the sauces. So much fun. Recipe number 4, broccoli enchiladas. And those are just 4 distinctly different ways that you could serve broccoli to your family throughout the course of 1 week. And remember that the main ingredient in every single one of those dishes cost you 99 cents a pound. Whenever you plan your weekly menus around items and ingredients that you got on discount, your grocery budget is going to drop.
Using these first 2 tips, Hope has been able to save 20% on her groceries, and that adds up very quickly.
Let's just give you an idea of what that might mean for the average American. According to the USDA, the average family of 4 needs to spend around $1,500 a month on groceries. That 20% savings means $300 a month that you are saving. But when you add that up over the course of a year, that is $3,600.
This is tip number 3. Stop the coffee habit. Now, that doesn't mean we want you to stop drinking coffee, because
oh, heavens, no.
We would never stop drinking coffee as much as we enjoy doing it. But we want you to really think carefully about going out to those coffee places and purchasing your coffee on your way to work. Average spending is $3 a cup for coffee, so that adds up to $15 a week. And $15 a week adds up to $780 a year that you're spending on coffee.
And I will point out that Larry is getting the regular black cup of coffee. That's $3 a cup. If you're getting the fancy schmancy coffee, it's going to be maybe double what he just said. So you take $780 a year and multiply it by 2. That's close to $1,500 a year. And that's what you're spending if you do it 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year.
But if you brew it at home, you're going to spend about 30 cents a cup on coffee. It is so much cheaper. And by the way, that is the way Hope and I drink our coffee. We brew it all from home. And if you want that real fancy coffee, you want those fancy flavors, get a milk frother and you can put the flavors into your coffee and make it taste just as good as coffee that you'll purchase.
Can you say fancy schmancy for me?
Fancy schmancy.
Thank you. That's very nice. Tip number 4, you're going to adjust your thermostat by 3 degrees. We get a lot of pushback on this tip, but let us explain. Yes, it does make a difference, and we'll tell you exactly how much of a difference. On average, you're going to save between 1 and 3% on your next utility bill for every degree that you lower your thermostat in the winter and you raise it in the summer. So this is kind of a seasonal tip, right? So you're lowering it in winter, raising it in summer. You're going to save 10% on average for every 3 degrees. The average utility bill right now, all of these statistics I'm giving you, I just looked them up again to make sure that I was on point with 2025 prices. Average utility bill in the United States of America, $225 a month. That means if you drop it by 10%, that's $2,250 a month. But added up over the course of a year, that's about $250 over the course of a year. So that is a lot of cash.
It's easy in the wintertime to drop these temperatures because eventually you do get used to a little cooler home and you dress warmer. I always wear like these padded flannel shirts. These are really warm. So you dress a little bit warmer and you can handle a little cooler household. And you might do some other things like if you're watching TV, sit under a blanket, drink some hot coffee. What we talked about in the tip before this.
Your 30 cent per cup hot coffee, though.
Yes. But there are some things you can do. And in the summertime, there are some things you can do. Drink plenty of cold water and so on. Find ways to make this work so you can save some money.
This next tip is, once again, a combo tip. This is like a 2-for-1 tip. Wash clothes in cold water and line dry them whenever you can. This is another one of those tips that people think doesn't save much money. But statistically, if you will wash in cold water, you're going to save over the course of a year $60. So what happens when you line dry? This is the one that was really unexpected for us. Now, if you're going to go to a laundromat, you're going to spend about $2 to dry a load of laundry. To dry it at home with an electric dryer, 45 minutes is about 50 cents a load. Let's do some math. Let's say you do 5 loads of laundry every week. That means over the course of a year, you are spending $130 a year just to dry your clothes in the clothes dryer.
And by line drying, you're going to be saving some wear and tear on your dryer, so it will probably last you longer. Tip number 6, bring your lunch instead of eating out. Now, I'll admit, I rarely ever ate out while I was working. Of course, I'm retired now, so I eat at home all the time, no matter what. 71% of workers eats out 3 times a week. Now, that's about $400 a month in eating out expenses. And boy, does that add up very quickly.
How much money are they dropping? About $20 per lunch.
Yes.
So once again, let's do some math because it's all in the numbers. Numbers are incredibly motivating, guys, when it comes to figuring out if I do this simple thing, I will save this amount of money. Let's look at the breakdown of numbers.
Let's say you're eating 5 days a week. At $20 a meal, you're going to be spending $5,200 a year. That's a major amount of money.
Now, that is over 52 weeks because we're assuming if you're eating out 5 times a week when you're going to work, you're probably going to go ahead and eat out even if you're not at work and you're on vacation. So what's the bottom line? How much does it cost to take lunch from home? Because to get a realistic look at the savings, you got to figure out what you're already spending going out to eat. And you need to subtract the amount of money it's taking you to prepare and bring lunches from home.
Yeah.
We figured about $2.50 per lunch from home. And honestly, guys, that's being really generous. There are a lot of lunches that Larry took that costs well under $2.50 per lunch. But for the sake of being realistic, then you're going to spend about $2.50 per lunch that you're bringing from home.
So that's about $12.50 a week, or $650 a year. Now, if you subtract that $650 from that $5,200, you actually save $4,550 by bringing your lunch from home.
Tip number 7 is one of our favorite places in the whole wide world to be, and that is use your public library instead of renting movies or having subscription services where you're streaming books or you're streaming movies.
Yeah.
And also stop buying books, instead borrow them from the library. It's surprising. I did a little bit of research on some statistics. So the average amount that you're going to pay per streaming service is about $15 a month. That's $180 a year. And that's just for one streaming service. A lot of people have more than one streaming service.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people buy books within a year, and that can add up to $300 per year. So if you're borrowing them from the library, the chances are you're not going to read that book twice anyway. You might as well borrow it, read it, and return the book to the library, saving you $300 a year.
There are so many amazing things available through your public library system. Technically free. No, you're paying on your taxes in order to fund that library system, but you've already paid for it, so you definitely should be using the library system in your area.
Yeah.
But I digress. Let's go back to the big picture, because we promised we would add it all up and tell you how much money you're going to save over the course of the year just using these 7 easy, simple, frugal strategies. Are you ready? Okay, I'll do my drum roll first.
We're talking $817.50 a month, or $9,812 a year. That's not too far from $10,000 a year. And these weren't really difficult things to save for.
If you're excited about some of these tips and you'd like more of our money-saving tips where we show you ways that you can drop your expenses radically, there's a video right over there. We give you even more tips. That'd be a good one to watch next.